It is Sunday, March 20th, the year 2022. My name is John Molden. I'm the owner at Blood, Sweat, and Tears Concrete. These are my co-hosts, Magnus and Carly Molden. And this is No Crying in Concrete. Carly, what will we be covering this week?
We will be comparing decorative versus gray concrete.
Absolutely, decorative versus gray concrete, and more so, things you should know about decorative concrete before you make that commitment. Magnus, do you think our driveway is considered decorative concrete?
Yes.
Yeah? You think it's pretty cool?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah?
Mm.
Yeah? Our driveway is exposed aggregate in the middle, and then it's stamped on the outside. And we actually poured it all in one pour just to see if we could, basically. It's not a real big driveway, but we were actually able to pull it all off in one instead of setting up the border separate, so that's kind of cool. It's kind of an accomplishment. Have you ever had a hard time making a decision, Carly?
Yep.
With what?
Deciding what baby doll I want from Ashton Drake.
From Ashton Drake, huh?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of them?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? What do you gotta do, like pick them out of a catalog or something, or online, or what?
Yeah, they have a website and they send books in the mail that I can look at.
That's pretty cool. So, you know, if you're looking into decorative concrete, you may have searched the web and collected hundreds of images. The decorative concrete options seem limitless. And the more you search, the less confident you probably are in what you actually want. Colors, textures, and configurations can overwhelm and totally confuse. This is really a really super common theme for the perfectionist type. I kind of know from experience, but you know, we've kind of limited things down. Oh, here comes the rain again. We've limited everything down in like stamped concrete to one type of stamp. We've eliminated everything else. Let's go to Roman slate stamp, and that's all that we offer. And that at least helps you to, you know, not get overwhelmed in that department. You can still go crazy with the colors and all that sort of thing, but have you ever watched the guys stamp concrete, Magnus?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let me think. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I'm not absolutely sure.
That doesn't surprise me. We don't do a lot of stamping. In Tucson, stamped concrete never gained the popularity most of the country experienced. You know, if we do 3 stamped concrete jobs in a year, that's a really big stamp year for us. So, you know, it's just not that big of a popular sort of thing. So normally, when you make a comparison of anything, you make a list of pros and cons, and you pick from that to help you decide which one to go with. But I think we all know gray concrete pretty well. Everybody's seen plenty of gray concrete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think instead we'll just go through the list of disclaimers I normally cover before signing off on a stamped job that's got sealer on it, or any other type of concrete that has sealer on it. Carly, what are the disclaimers on the list?
Color fade, sealer maintenance, luster fading, slipperiness, and cost.
Cost?
Cost.
Very good.
Sorry.
It's okay. We all make mistakes. That wasn't a bad one at all. So the first one, the color fade. You know, if you go to the color suppliers and ask them, they're going to tell you that their color doesn't really fade at all. Watch out for that dog down there. See her? Hang on to that tripod. The dog's looking to wreck the show. So, what was I now? But, you know, anybody that's had colored concrete knows if there's not a sealer on it. You know, especially this Arizona sun is going to fade it out. So what I normally do is tell people, you know, if they don't plan to put a sealer on it, to go ahead and pick a color that's a shade or two darker than their ideal color, and then it'll fade back to what they're actually looking for. Magnus, do you remember the last time I put sealer on a driveway?
No.
No? It's been a while now. But that leads us into the next thing. The sealer means maintenance. In the northern part of the country, you know, where I guess the sun's not quite as powerful here as here, or whatever, I guess you might say. The you know, you can expect to get 5 years out of your 2 coats of sealer. You get real direct sun, maybe a little less, but here in Arizona, you're going to be dang lucky to get 2 years in direct sunlight on a patio even. And when it comes to driveways, they wear out even quicker. You got the traffic going up and down, so you can wear out the spots right where the tires are going, and that can make for some kind of tricky, uneven sealing scenarios, because you know that'll wear out first, that'll start to fade. When you get in there to put the sealer back on, you may have permanent stripes all the way up the driveway. So you know, there's definitely something that would need to be talked about before we were to stamp it and put sealer on a driveway. So Carly, do you like dusting?
No.
You don't like dusting at all? Huh?
No, not really.
No? You got somebody trying to get in the show over here or what? We got the dog trying to get in. You wonder what's going on. So, but there's plenty of dust in Arizona, isn't there? There's plenty of dusting to do. For sure. That brings us to our next point. It's the luster fades. And, you know, what I mean by luster is that brand new, shiny surface that looks like an interior floor on your patio when we just get done. You know, when you first see it and your jaw drops and it just looks amazing. You know, the most disappointing part of decorative concrete comes along in the days and weeks after the initial finish. It looks amazing right away, and then the wind blows, the rain falls, the dog gets a hold of it, and it's really never going to be the same again after that. I mean, no matter how you clean it, how crazy you are cleaning it, it's never that same luster as it was right at first. So you know, I guess a lot of people will see a picture in a magazine or a picture online, and they'll see that perfect patio and they'll think that it's going to be like that for 20 years. But you know, realize that it's going to fade, it's going to get dirty, it's going to take a full-time cleaning crew to keep it looking like that. So there was a patio we did a while back, and it was back when we were still staining concrete. We used 2 colors to stain it, put 2-3 coats of sealer on it, and it was just beautiful. The homeowners were loving it. That following weekend they called and they said, "Oh man, there's something wrong with the sealer on this, we can't get it clean." So I sent Mike over there the next week, and he cleaned it all on hands and knees like it was a kitchen floor or something. And they were happy with it. It didn't have quite the luster, but they called again the following weekend, and they were having a heck of a time trying to keep it clean. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as you're putting that vision in your head. So Magnus, have you ever slipped and fell when you were like running around Tammy's pool or anything?
No.
No. You know, the reason that you didn't is because she's got cool deck with lots of texture all the way around her pool, so it's really a non-skid surface. But that brings us to the next point, and that's the fact that decorative concrete can be really slippery. You know, some backyards are better than others when it comes to being a candidate for decorative concrete. Any area that's going to get wet will eventually be slippery. Now, I have sold a lot of sealer with slip additives in it, you know, something to give it grip. And, you know, have been a believer in the past and have sold it as a believer, but the older I get, the more I realize that, you know, once we leave, if we're not coming back to do the maintenance on it, you may be handing it off to your handyman, you may be handing it off, or just doing it yourself for that matter. But eventually that grip additive is not going to get put back into the sealer. And at that point you basically have a slip and slide that breaks hips. So, you know, if you're going to be coming straight out of the pool, you have to, you know, think about the surface you really want there. So Carly,
Yep.
how much can you get a cheap baby doll for, like at the dollar store?
Like $5.
Like $5? Yeah. How much do your Ashton Drake dolls cost?
Like sometimes over 200.
Are you kidding me? My goodness, we actually let her buy these things. She likes to buy things like that with her door hanger money. But you know, it's kind of the same thing with concrete. You know, you've got your regular gray concrete with a broom finish versus a stamped, sealed patio. You know, it's expensive. It gets really expensive actually. And you know, I mean, there's color that adds to the cost, and there's antiquing, and there's you know a lot of different product that adds to the cost. But the real money comes in the amount of trips we have to make out to the site. We actually have to go through the same process as a regular concrete pour, where we come out, excavate, set the forms, pour the concrete, put a finish on it. But with regular concrete, we're done, we're gone, we're out of there. With stamped concrete, say, we've got to come back the next day, wash the surface, pressure wash it, scrub it down, and then blow dry it, and then leave, come back and let it dry overnight so it's completely dry. Then we come in the next day and we put a coat of sealer on it. Then we're out of there for 28 days to let it cure, still have a little breathability. Come back in, pressure wash it, blow it off, leave it overnight, come back, put the final coat on it. So we get 4 more trips out to the job site. So you can see where it really does start getting a lot more expensive than the original, or just doing a normal finished concrete, like a hard trowel or a broom or a sweat or a salt sweat. You know what all those look like, right?
Yeah.
Magnus, what's your favorite concrete finish?
Regular gray.
Is regular gray smooth?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Something simple enough. So yeah, there's some alternatives to sealed concrete. You can do a hard trowel, smooth. We normally only recommend those if they're indoors, like inside of a garage or a dwelling. You can do just a straight broom finish. It's good for grip. We can do the alternate broom finish, where we finish each section in opposite, and perpendicular to the next. And we can do the sweat, where we just leave a little bit of texture with the trowel, or we can do a salt sweat, where we leave the texture and then pound salt into it. Everybody's probably seen that in Tucson. The other one is the exposed aggregate, and that's where you wash the top off, so there's a little more to that, so it ends up getting expensive as well. But for the most part, we don't put sealer on those around here. The only thing I always tell people there is that if it's going to be near a pool or hot tub, it can be really hard on the feet, you know, so we have to be careful with your exposure depth and make sure that it's not going to be impossible to walk on barefoot. So Carly, what's your favorite concrete finish?
Stamped concrete.
You like the stamped? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool looking. So I'd have to say that my favorite finish is like a random sweat done by, you know, just a master craftsman finisher. You know, maybe a little integral color mixed in with it. That works well to throw a splash of color. You know, just remember to go a shade or two darker, because it's gonna fade if you don't put the sealer on. But yeah, I always recommend have a discussion with your contractor if we don't happen to be that contractor, and try to look at some pics that their crew has done. You may be able to go and look at some of the work that they've actually done even, and you know, try to pick something that's gonna be timeless, never go out of style, because as we all know, concrete is forever, or, you know, a good part of forever. So, good part of our forever. So, so you got anything big planned for this week then?
Schoolwork.
Good times.
Oh yeah, and I have the conditioning again.
Yeah, he's going back to football conditioning. The conditioning, it was his first time, and it was tough on him. The coach didn't take it easy at all. He was a little stiff for a couple days, put it that way.
It hurt.
Alrighty. Well, if nobody has any questions, you got any questions, Ma? Nothing?
Questions or comments of any sort?
Well, I guess we'll sign it off then, huh?
Yep.
You guys haven't got anything else before the real rain comes.
Yeah, it's about to start pouring, I think.
Alrighty, well, thank you for taking the time to watch again this week. We will be back next Sunday from the backyard kitchen answering questions you didn't know you needed to ask about concrete. Remember, there's no crying in concrete other than tears of joy brought about by a job well done. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye!